So Lost Found, let me start this video off by saying I appreciate your comment. I sincerely do. I am a creator that actually likes getting comments from people that disagree with me. It makes for a deeper conversation. So with that being said, I'm about to go at you about your comment now and let you know some things that I was thinking about as I was reading your comment. So the viewer Lost and Found commented, "So sad that you want to call yourself an owner-operator and you can't even fix a universal joint. Let me tell you something, a bolt, 30 minutes, something that simple. If you're going to work on your truck, get rid of it. You're just a glorified company driver." I think even though he made a few mistakes there, we all know what he's trying to say. The first thing I want to bring up in regards to your comment deals with what you were saying about me wanting to call myself an owner-operator. Like, pride has something to do with it. Like, it really doesn't, okay? I call myself an owner-operator because I own and operate my own truck. The title is in the dashboard. I have the tags on it. I pay for the tags. I pay for the insurance. I don't have a DOT number because I run forestry product. I'm exempt from needing a DOT number. Plus, I don't go across state lines and I don't have my own authority. But other than that, the relationship that I have with the broker that I pull for is not binding in any way. I can go where I want to, whenever I want to. I can pull for somebody else tomorrow if I want to with my truck. I'm in full control of where my truck goes. That's the only reason why I call myself an owner-operator, because I own and operate my own truck / my own small business. That's the first point. The second point I want to ask you about deals with your time. What is your time worth to you? Because like you described fixing this issue that I was wrestling with that day, which was a universal joint. You described fixing that issue as being easy. And this is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video, because my brother was telling me that day that I was wrestling with the universal joint. He was telling me how to do it and he was making it sound really simple. Now me, I'll admit I got limited knowledge of how to fix a truck. So while I'll admit that fixing a universal joint could be easy, it's only simple if you got the knowledge of how to do it and if you got the tools and if you feel like putting the time into it. Now you might say, well, you're just an overpaid company driver if you can't fix your own truck. I don't think it's about being able to fix my own truck. I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't want to put the time into it sometimes. That's what that video was about. That was a project that was more difficult than I cared to get into, and it required more knowledge than I had. So I took my truck to the mechanic shop the very next day, so it wasn't like I had to miss work. That would have been one thing. But if you can get your truck in the shop and get a mechanic to fix your truck, I'm not understanding what's wrong with being willing to pay somebody to do the stuff that you don't feel like doing or that you don't want to do. That's why I asked the question, what is your time worth to you? The time that you spend working on your truck, especially if it's excessive, you can't write that off, Lost Found. That is free labor. And me, I got a problem with free labor, whether I'm working for somebody else or whether I'm working for myself. And the main reason I got a problem with free labor is because I have a family. I would much rather be laying up under my wife than under a truck. And if I can afford to pay somebody to help me do that, to fix my truck so that I can have the time to do what I want to do, like, that's what we're supposed to be doing with our money. Like, what else is it to do with your money other than buy your time? You get what I'm saying? So like, what is the value of your time? I think if you ask 100 truck drivers, would they rather spend their time laying under their truck or laying under their wife, laying under their woman? At least a percentage of them, at least 25% of them be like, I ain't got no problem with laying up under my truck, right? But that's not my situation. Like, I got a beautiful life at home. I got a beautiful wife at home. I got a beautiful family at home. And I would much rather be laid up under them than laid up under a truck. So being willing to pay somebody to give me my time back doesn't make me, that don't mean I'm thinking like an overpaid company driver or a glorified company driver. That means I'm thinking more like a business owner, I would say. And this, in my opinion, is one of those things that keeps self-employed individuals, owner-operators, from ever truly operating like business owners, because we got to have our hands in everything. We got to be the ones to do everything. And we do that in an effort to save money. It's like sometimes we're so involved with trying to save money and spending our time to save money that we don't have the energy to even concern ourselves with how to save time and how to save energy, all right? What is your time worth? Like, I know you understand the concept of your time being valuable because, you know, I hear you guys talking about that when you're negotiating, and talking about negotiating your rates with brokers. I have a beautiful family, and I have a problem with giving away my time for free, even if it's giving away my time to my own business. Am I saying that as a self-employed individual, as an owner-operator, as a business owner, you shouldn't spend time working on your equipment? That's not what I'm saying. How much time you should spend, you know, in your business and working on your equipment and doing other stuff, that is debatable. There's valid arguments on either side. What's not debatable, what I am saying is time is more valuable than money. Another thing I want to hit on in regards to your comment deals with being a real trucker. The guys that see themselves as being real truckers, probably like yourself, it's like you take pride in being willing to lay up under your truck on the weekend or in the evening. You quote unquote real truckers take pride in driving in extra adverse conditions or being away from home or away from family for extra amounts of time. You guys, some of you guys seem to take a lot of pride in calling yourself a real trucker because you do those things. When in reality, the way of the real trucker, and this is fact, the way of the real trucker is dying. It's going away fast. This is not just me saying that. Any quote unquote real trucker, lost found, if he got a few years under his belt, will probably tell you that. The way of the real trucker is going away fast. The way that they like to do things, the way that they like to operate out here, things are changing in the industry, and that is, it's said that that's one of the reasons why there's a trucker shortage. Because the old school guys, the quote unquote real truckers, they don't want to do it anymore. So the way of the real trucker is dying fast. Why am I bringing that up? Because why take so much pride in seeing yourself as a real trucker when at the same time you know that the way of the real trucker is dying fast? Why take so much pride in seeing yourself as that when you know that that's going away quickly? In my opinion, we should be helping the new drivers, the new owner operators, get their priorities straight when they come into the profession and when they start buying their own trucks. Let me say that another way. When an individual comes into the industry, when a person starts out as an owner operator, is it a priority that they do the things that you guys are saying need to be done so they can be a quote unquote real trucker? Is that a priority? I would say no. A priority is being able to feed your family, being able to support your family, being able to take care of your home. That's the priority. That's what we need to be praising. To me, it doesn't really make sense to praise being a real trucker when that way of life is kind of dying out. I don't want nobody to get scared about what I'm saying. Like I'm saying trucking is dying out. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the way of the old school quote unquote real trucker is going away fast, and all of them know that. It's like trying to, you know, achieve something that really doesn't mean anything. I was always told that trucking is kind of like baseball. The real objective is to make it home safely, right? So, like said another way, who gives a damn about being a real trucker if I don't make it home or if I'm not taking care of home? That is what is praiseworthy. That's what we need to help the people coming in the industry understand that they need to be looking at, not trying to be called a real trucker. At the end of the day, that don't mean absolutely nothing. And this video is not about downing the quote unquote real trucker. I love you guys. My dad was a real trucker for years. This is more or less to the guys that brag about being a quote unquote real trucker. You know, the ones that like tell you, you're not a real trucker if you ain't done this. You ain't a real trucker if you ain't drove in 3 feet of snow. You ain't a real trucker if you ain't stayed away from your family for 10 months at a time. You ain't a real trucker if you ain't willing to lay up under your truck and work on it for hours. You ain't a real trucker if you keep your flip-flops on, if you wear your flip-flops around, stuff like that. Like, it really matters. I'm just making the point that in times of change, the learners inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully prepared for a world that no longer exists. And I'm just merely asking the question, why brag about being prepared as a quote unquote real trucker for a world that is about to no longer exist? You're not a real trucker if you ain't done this, if you ain't done that. It's nonsense. You're a real trucker if you drive a truck. Period. End of story. Okay? But why be so proud of being a real trucker when that's not the real priority? So lost and found, let me know what you think, man, about what I'm saying in this video. I would love to hear your perspective. Again, I'm not a YouTuber that doesn't like criticism. I enjoy being in the presence of people that don't think like me. It makes for a more interesting discussion. So it's not about me being defensive. I'm not trying to make people think that I'm right. I'm only trying to make people think.